What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Doctor Who Series 12 review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Series 12, Episode 9, Ascension of the Cybermen. This is, well, it's the first part of the two-part finale, but I guess it's almost kind of a three-part finale, so it's the second part. I think Villa of Diodati is probably its own enough to not be considered as part of the finale. It's kind of just a lead up to the finale. But yeah, this is the first part of the main finale, I suppose, Ascension of the Cybermen. So anyway, let's get started with the cast. So we'll start as usual with Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor. Yes. Really starting to love Jodie's Doctor, actually. These last two episodes, really, from Villa Diodati onwards, because I still felt like in Can You Hear Me and Praxeus, she wasn't that great. She was actually going a bit downhill. But then ever since last week, she's been going back uphill again. And this episode, she really shines for me. Not too many silly moments once again, because the stakes are higher. She just snapping at the companions in the way that she did. That bit where she's like, I know, she just shouts at them. You can, in a way, it's kind of like, is she kind of, turning a bit too quick? She's gone from this, always happy and jolly, to now really snapping all the time. Have they kind of gone too far with it? But I don't think they have, because one, I just generally prefer how Jodie acts in these scenes. I think she's better at this acting sort of stuff than she is with the silly, laughy, funny stuff. But also the fact that she has been so, jolly in that recently, since this regeneration kind of begun, really. The fact that that was the case, and, she's now kind of realizing what she's doing and what danger she's putting her companions in. And it's, so the kind of snapping, it works for me. It makes sense. And yeah, generally, altogether, I'm really starting to like the 13th Doctor a lot more. I hope she sticks with this. I have a feeling she probably will stick with this for the final episode, for this series. But I hope that when we kind of things, go a bit more, once we've done with the finale and things calm down a bit for like series 13, I hope she doesn't go back to the too giddy kind of funny side, because I'm loving the way she is at the moment. As for the companions, we've got Bradley Walsh as Graham O'Brien, who is really good in this one. Kind of partners up with Yaz quite a lot in this story, and yeah, just generally really good. I might as well talk about Yaz at the same time. So Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan, because they're kind of together for most of this story. It's a dynamic Graham and Yaz that we haven't really seen too much of. We saw it a bit in Praxeus at the start, but that was really about it. A couple of little scenes here and there, but not a whole lot, whereas they're pretty much together for the majority of this episode. And yeah, they have some great chemistry moments. They have just some great funny moments and just genuinely good moments. Both of the characters, so I'm definitely happy to see that with Yaz. I definitely think that Yaz has been improved on massively this series compared to last series. But yeah, both of them really good. Tosin Cole as Ryan Sinclair, I think he's decent in this one as well. He kind of gets partnered with the Doctor in this episode, as they get split up. And I think he's good. For me, he's definitely, he's my least favourite of the three altogether at the moment. The three companions, for sure. And in this episode, yeah, he is the most kind of forgettable and the one that doesn't really do that much. He gets partnered with the Doctor and kind of just doesn't really do a whole lot after that. We get a lot of good stuff with the Doctor, a decent amount of good stuff with the Doctor. I'd almost say that kind of Yaz and Graham are more of the focus here, and alongside the lone Cyberman's kind of story. And you've got Brendan's story, which we'll get to, but I thought that Brian was okay in the story, but definitely nothing amazing. Alright, so on to the good and the bad, starting off with the good. The cyber drones. Now, I wasn't really sure about these at first. When I initially saw the picture of, Cyberman heads in the distance, kind of with the perspective, I was presuming they were like cyber ships. The ships were shaped as cyber heads. But then when it turned out they were drones, I was a bit iffy about it. But you know what? I think they actually looked cool, and it was a really cool action sequence. I did quite like that sequence. Really getting things, going and action-packed from the beginning. They were only really used for that starting scene. It would be nice if we do get to see them again in the next episode, but because we didn't see them apart from that. But yeah, I think for what they were used for, they were pretty cool, and yeah, they did their job, I suppose. The Doctor telling the companions to leave her and get to safety. Like I said before, the whole thing where, the Doctor decides that, yep, this is too dangerous. you need to go away, get safe. The Cybermen are going to convert you. You can kind of feel and hear the emotion in her voice when she says you're human. The Cybermen, if they get you, they will convert you. And it's just, you can kind of feel the emotion in her, because she's known people, especially Bill, who have been converted to a Cyberman. So yeah, there's a lot going on in there. The lone Cyberman having backstory and generally just being an interesting character. I'm really happy about this. The lone Cyberman for me is definitely, well, apart from I suppose the Master, but honestly at the moment I think he's actually better than the Master as a villain. Of course we're going to see more of the Master next episode, but so far, yeah, this lone Cyberman, he's got character, which is really interesting. He's got a bit of backstory, not a whole lot so far. I mean, we don't really know what happened to him prior to getting semi-converted, but he has a lot of character about him, and he has emotion, which for Cybermen is usually not a good thing, but it's really cool for this lone Cyberman. And I'm not 100% sure what they're doing, like when he was, doing something with the other Cybermen, when he was, getting them all back alive again. Some people are saying, was he kind of switching off not all of their inhibitor, their emotional inhibitor, but part of that inhibitor to give them, maybe just the anger factor, if anything. If that is the case, I'm interested. I hope they do it well, because Cybermen, they are supposed to be, completely emotionless beings. So giving them emotion, I think for this lone Cyberman, it's really working. Whether it'll work for the other Cybermen, if they do go down that route, which I think is what they're trying to do here. We haven't really seen enough of those other Cybermen yet. But yeah, I like where that's going, and generally the lone Cyberman as a character I'm loving at the moment. Brendan, let's just talk about Brendan quickly. He's immortal. Is he possibly linked to Captain Jack? Now the whole Brendan thing is a bit of a weird one, and it's kind of thrown the fandom around a bit from what I've seen. A lot of people have said that it's actually one of the most interesting parts of this episode, which I can agree with in a lot of ways. Some other people have said that it kind of brings the episode down a bit and really ruins with the pacing, which I can also agree with. At the moment, it's really hard to judge this whole Brendan thing, because there is literally there's no context, no connection between him, his story that's going on, and the Cyberman story, and the Gallifrey story that's, thrown on at the end of this as well with the Master. There's no connection at the moment to all those three. All three of them are, really kind of disjointed and not connected to each other at the moment. So I'm hoping and I'm presuming that Brendan's going to get, it's going to be something like, my guess, we'll talk about the guess in a minute, but anyway, at the moment, the Brendan thing, I'm interested in it. It's really interesting. Him being linked to Captain Jack, the only reason I come up with that is because when he gets shot, he comes back alive. The way he comes back alive, it's just very Captain Jack-esque. I mean, with the way he looked and everything, and the whole, he like breathes and, gets up, starts coughing, completely Captain Jack-like. So maybe there's a connection there. I don't think there is, but I don't know. The new Cyberman design looks really awesome. Yeah, honestly, probably my favorite Cyberman design. I'm not a big fan of the spikes on the shoulders, but apart from that, really like it. The body's a lot more like the Nightmare and Silver Cybermen, which I don't like, but I don't mind their bodies. It's their heads that I don't like. But it's kind of the relatively similar body to them, but a completely different head, which I love. It's kind of a mix of kind of the Invasion Cybermen, mixed with, I guess, a bit of the Earthshock Cybermen, mixed with a bit of the new series Cybers and the kind of Nightmare Cybermen. A mix of a lot, and I really like them. I definitely like them more than the Nightmare and Silver ones. Do I like them more than the Cybers ones? I don't know, because they were kind of my first proper Cybermen to see. But I do really like these. I can't wait to see more of them in the next episode. So back onto Brendan again. Is that a chameleon arch being used on Brendan at the end? He gets, put into this room. His dad and one of the other officers, I think, police officers, are there with him who haven't aged. He's aged, Brendan's aged, but they haven't aged, which is a weird thing. And they sit him down, put this thing that looks like a chameleon arch. It's just like a headset, but it looks like a chameleon arch, just completely. And the way it kind of zaps him and, the way he's reacting reminds me very much of the 10th Doctor using the chameleon arch in Human Nature Family of Blood. Is that what's going on here? is this, because that's the thing, if Brendan's going to be linked to anything, I'm pretty certain, I'm 95% certain that he's going to be linked, 90% certain maybe, that he's going to be linked to the whole Gallifrey thing instead of the lone Cyberman thing. Some people are saying that he is the lone Cyberman. I don't think that's the case personally, but I think it's going to be something to do with the Gallifrey thing, but I'm a bit worried about where they're going to go with that at the same time. So, yeah, it's really weird. We have literally no context at the moment, but I thought that was definitely an interesting scene, and it's really piqued my interest for this whole Brendan storyline. And then finally for the good, Gallifrey appearing through the portal at the end, and the Master jumping out of it. When the portal came up and it showed Gallifrey, as soon as I saw Gallifrey, I thought, right, there was that whole thing with Barrack Stemmis being one of the guest characters. We all kind of saw that as being, yeah, that's just a code secret name for the Master, and he's going to turn up. As soon as I saw Gallifrey through that portal, I knew, yep, the Master's going to show up. Of course, he did. But I still, even though I completely saw it coming, I really like that ending scene. I don't know what it is, it's just the way that he kind of comes through the portal, he's like, whoa, oh, there's the way he acts, the whole kind of, oh, that was quite an entrance. I don't know about that. It's kind of a bit, you know, look at me, look at the cool way that I wrote this, Chibnall, woo woo. But, and the kind of the repeating of, this is about to change everything you know about everything. You've kind of heard that already. You're just repeating things for a climactic end. But, yeah, generally that whole scene at the end, and with, you know, Graham and Yaz and the others on the cyber ship, pretty much, they're screwed. The Cybermen are about to come through the door. That was a hell of a cliffhanger for the episode, and I loved it. Now on to the bad. There's a couple of things to talk about. The first one, the Sonic is being way overused. I've said this in a couple of others episodes, but yeah, the Sonic is way overused. You know, the fact that she uses this at the start of the story to scan, she's scanning everything, which it's okay, but it kind of gets really old after a while. The fact that she kind of just scans and says, oh, there's 7 humans here, and oh, I'm presuming that these are the last 7 humans in the universe. You're just presuming that. That's just, yeah, let's just presume that that's what's happening. And just, I don't know, her just waving the Sonic around is really getting quite annoying, I will be honest. And then finally, shouldn't Graham, Yaz and the others be kind of wary that this is a cyber carrier that they're on? You know, they go onto this random ship, and fair enough, they had to go somewhere because they were in space on their ship and they were gonna run out of oxygen and die. So there was this ship close to them. They went for the ship because otherwise they were gonna be dead anyway. But yeah, don't you think they should be a little bit more wary that this could be a cyber carrier or something like that? They just seem a little bit nonchalant about it, so I thought that could have been handled a little bit better. But apart from those couple of things, yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It's kind of hard to judge this one, because there are a lot of loose ends, a lot of things that need to be picked up in the next episode. The Timeless Children is what it's called. You know, the whole Brendan thing. We've got the whole Gallifrey thing come in now, so I'm presuming that's gonna tie up the kind of thing with the Master and the Time Lords and what happened there with the High Council and stuff. That's going to tie that up in the finale. It's going to figure out what's going on with this whole Brendan thing. It's got to, you know, resolve the Cyberman thing, and maybe it'll resolve the Ruth Doctor thing. I don't know. It's going to be a lot to do in one episode. I'm a little bit worried about that, but generally, this episode was really good. For a rating right now, like I said, it's kind of hard to rate on its own because there's a lot of loose ends. I was going to give it a 9.5, but I'm actually just going to give it a 9 out of 10. This one could definitely go up or down depending on how the next episode goes. If we get a lot of good answers and stuff, then this could go up to a 9.5, maybe even a 10. I don't know, but at the moment, I'm going to give Ascension of the Cybermen a 9 out of 10. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like, and subscribe. Go into the description, follow me on Twitter, that would be awesome. And I'll see you guys in the next video.